I would, at this point, defer to Barbara Cohen. I understand that there was from the executive session that Commissioner Otley Brown had many comments with regards to the financials. And I would merely note that Barbara will likely discuss the fact that we did look at that office option, as all these cases that have come to the board with 25-foot narrow lots and small lots have, and did make a determination that that was an infeasible design. But I will let Barbara discuss that if the board so requests.
Please go ahead, Ms. Cohen. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Ben.
Okay, Barbara Cohen, real estate and planning consultant. I would just also add in my report on page 2, I do make the distinction between shared hardships and unique hardships, and so we're right there with you in terms of what's shared and what's unique. Okay, let's go to the running list of comments, Commissioner Brown, and I made very quick notes. I certainly tried to jump to the report to see what it is was the concern. Okay. And of course, look, in the end, we'll all get addressed in full in writing in the next submission. But let's do it. Land value, yes, many of the comparables that were available did have the residential component in it. Yes, they had a discount. You would prefer a more discount. Happy to take a look at it. Again, for all these comparable tables, each comparable is compared to the subject site, right? So that's where all the adjustments are constantly made. In terms of the water view, that's exactly what happened. Many of those sites were inland, so their potential for water view, they needed an upward adjustment. So if you didn't have a view, we have a view, they get an upward adjustment. So I will. I'm sorry, I can't hear.
My comment.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Otley Brown. Can you speak into the microphone?
My comment about water view was that you are too far in from the river to claim water view because you have lots in front of you that could be redeveloped and will block your water view.
So,
and the second part of that comment was you can't claim that you have a water view for your site value and then claim for your residential sales the precise thing that I just said, which is that you won't have a water view because of the development between you and the river.
Right, but what I'm saying is that the comps, you're looking at each comp and you go through all the factors and you say, how does it compare to the subject site? So I'm saying for those comps, I say, well, they're inland, they don't have a water view. We do, okay, that they get an upward adjustment. So I come to the site value and that gets that figure. Now, as you move on to the residential comps and going through what's available there, I actually had to really distinguish between in the market, the much larger units. Many are on the waterfront, but that's not us. So I then zeroed in on smaller units and what was available. The other, and then looked at where they were, and if, again, inland versus not, made the adjustments accordingly. The other factor that, yes, has come into play is the planned development across the street and that tower that sits on the corner. Now, I haven't, because I don't know how, to do where I imagine sitting on a balcony in the front of our building on the 10th floor, and I'm looking out in that direction. Do I get a water view if a 60-story tower is there?
Simple. Can I just make this analysis simple? We cannot, based on a projection of a project that will go through an approval at ULURP and at City Council and use that as a basis for a lot of the analysis. It should be based on what the current zoning is and what it permits.
No, and I do say, look, all I do say is
Ron, do you
simply
agree
that,
with that?
I fully agree with you, and I'm taking issue with the inconsistency in your logic here, because what
Right.
it's serving you very well. It's serving you to jack your site value up for
Exactly.
potential water view, but to depress your income, no, it's not water view. So
Well-
what I want to say is, you're not water view unless you're on the water, basically in New York City. Anybody, if you have a tax lot or a zoning lot between you and the water, you don't have a water view.
okay, all right.
And that's how it should be treated.
Okay.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so anyway, we'll go back and deal with that. Okay. So the other piece had to do with really the program of the building and how the ground floor space is, what is really the use there. And there is a distinction between inline retail and restaurant, okay? And I stress very strongly in all the comps and why I'm a restaurant, and through there, unfortunately, the comps themselves are sort of just ground floor space, and that's what's available. That's what I had to deal with. But and because there are no real direct comps for what is sort of restaurant space. And so again, each comp I had, I made adjustments accordingly, with the knowledge that the program was really for restaurant. And with that, really gets into, so why do you have a cellar, right? And why do you have an open terrace? You need that prep space, and you need a place to do bathrooms and so on in the cellar. And then Boris will speak to the adjacent building that forces a second elevator, which would normally not do, of course, to go just down one level. But in this case, there are unique conditions associated with that adjacent building that forces that design and, yes,
Please understand the unique condition and adjacent to the building that causes it. This is a very standard.
No. But what I'm saying, and you'll hear from Boris in more detail, but that building, it's
Okay,
not like,
I just want to, I think what is troubling me is that the commercial use is permitted as of right.
Mhm.
So you can build on that site, the commercial use with cellar, or without it, or a space above it. It's a business decision you're taking in providing cellar space and having to locate your uses in multiple levels. That's a business decision. I'm not sure why that is driving the hardship.
No. What I'm just pointing out is that as a restaurant use, which is really the only marketable use in that location, it's not a inline traditional retail that it benefits from a concentration of retail, a retail strip. You wouldn't just throw a shoe store in there, for example, all by itself on a block that has no other traditional retail. It has other restaurants. It doesn't matter if you're good enough, you can operate in the sewer. It doesn't matter. Location is not, the issue. So the restaurant is very specific to this program, the buildings. Otherwise, you would not do a cellar because it comes with a lot of challenges. What I was saying about the adjacent building, and what I was saying about, if you look at the design, there are 2 elevators in the design because the restaurant must have supporting prep space, must have the bathrooms. You got where it's all going to be if you're not doing a cellar. So there are specific conditions about that adjacent building that cause the design to generate a second elevator, which is specific to this, to the construction here. And it's all I'm saying about the ground floor space. Think restaurant. It's not just retail as anything, and it can be anything. It's very specific to this, the design and which then, look, the upper terrace. That's, again, it's really links with an interior staircase. It links to the whole program of of eating and drinking and so on.
Okay, can I just jump in? Because I know that you wanted to tackle some of these financial issues, and I kind of think it's premature of you to tackle them here in the hearing.
Okay.
Because as you're speaking, you're actually contradicting yourself.
No.
So I'm going to give you an example of how you're contradicting yourself. In talking about the program and how you were devising a program for this site where you wanted restaurant instead of general retail, you made the argument that general retail is not going to do well in this area far from a commercial strip with other associated shops, but a restaurant can be successful regardless of where it's located. Inner city, out by the waterfront, it really depends on how good a restaurant it is, but it could succeed anywhere. Here's where your contradiction comes in. When we're looking at your comps, you're adjusting all of your comps downward because you're saying they have a superior location in the interior areas of Manhattan on commercial strips with public transportation versus the subject site, which is located where it's located on the west side. Now, this is your paperwork.
No, and I have to look. I have to really go back and see.
Yeah, you do.
No, and I'm not. Look, I'm not going to say
on the record.
No.
Why you have to is what I'm saying. Take a few minutes, breathe, sit with it over the weekend, read your report, form your argument with Mr. Lobel, so it's a very cogent argument here that I can't poke holes in while I'm sitting here just, you know.
I look. We've been. Everything's been moving very fast. I'm trying to answer what I can answer, and also, not get into so many detail, but also to correct some things that I think are not totally correct. So, for example,
in short, though, I think. Sorry, Ms. Cohen. I really do believe that this also would be best in writing.
All right, I have no problem with that. Truthfully, it takes the pressure off, but and I will go through each and every comment and whether it's misstated or not or what. I do it all the time, right? So not a problem. We can move forward. We know we're coming back with an adjusted design, so everything gets adjusted accordingly.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cohen. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you, Vice Chair.